Hello.
Hi, Susan.
Hi, how are
Lovely to
you?
see you.
You okay? Can you see me?
Yeah, yeah, I can see you very well. Yeah.
So how are you doing? How's it going? How's it going with Switcheroo?
So I think we are doing a soft launch, and I'll be speaker in a conference. It's called One Society. So I'll be speaking
Okay.
about how art influences people, culture, and how it can boost your mental well-being not only during this pandemic but post-pandemic world as well. And
Okay.
how it increases your productivity, as well as like how it influences you know you to think about different things differently, and also um, raise your voices, like how Banksy does it. Be cryptic in the way you want to send messages to each other and things
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
So I've just seen that we've got one attendee on now. So
Yeah.
I think we should make a start.
Yeah, sure, let's do that.
So, welcome everybody today to the Hacking Potential and Purpose. I will be your host this afternoon, and I will be having a discussion interview about the rise to the top as a female tech entrepreneur with Supriya. I'll let
Oh,
Supriya introduce herself after I tell you a bit more about the business that I'm involved in. So, I'm the
mhm,
CEO, Creative Director of JUUBIX Limited, which is a connecting, matching platform for ideas and expertise and investment
mhm,
to actually connect and meet. And our platform is different in terms of we actually calculate the network
mhm,
that you have been connected to. So obviously, I'm sure you're aware of your LinkedIn networks and your
yeah.
social networks, but you don't
Mhm,
actually know how much liquidity or value that
mhm,
they hold. So
yeah.
now with Ubix, you actually get an automatic
Mhm,
calculation of each and every connection that is connected to you. So that's kind of what Jubix does. And I'll
mhm.
pass it over
Interesting.
to Supriya to give a brief introduction about what she.
Hi, everyone. I'm Supriya. I'm the CTO and co-founder of Switcheroo Global, and I was founder of Foodkin prior to that. Um, I'm a physicist who has turned into an entrepreneur recently. When I say recently, it's been like a 1.5 years journey, but it has been, I think I had a knack for building products and creating impact. And yeah, let's unfold rest of it later.
Yes. I don't want you to give too much away because there will be no job for me then.
Yeah, that's what.
So yeah, first of all, I would like to say how I feel that you obviously are a very powerful lady, especially
Mhm.
the reason why I wanted to interview you, and also very beautiful, which is
Oh my
also
God,
a
thank
talent
you.
as well to have beauty. So I definitely want to commend
Mhm.
you on that. So I would like to first go into more about your background, where you kind of started from, from a very
Yeah.
young age. Where were you actually born?
So I was born in India, in a military air base, because my dad works in Air Force. So that's where I was born. And I was raised in India up to my first master's, and then I moved to UK.
So the next question is that what do your mum and dad do? So I know you touched on it
Uh,
briefly.
yeah, I touched very briefly on what my dad does. So there's more to it because he serves as a psychiatrist as well for people who come
Oh
from,
wow.
war zones. So he deals with a lot of PTSD, people who have those challenges. So he's like a good person to have, like who understands technology as well as, psychology. And then my mom, she uh, she was a fashion designer, but then she turned to be a housewife since I was born, and I was born with I was a very different kind of child, a tough one to deal with, I would say. So she has to
Okay.
forego her career in order to bring me up, and I guess that keeps me going. That's what inspires me to do more. But yeah, as their
Fantastic.
first kid, I read somewhere you you inherit best of their genes. So I guess I get a little bit understanding of psychology, technology, and arts. So I just feel so blessed to have them in my life.
Fantastic. Sounds amazing. Who gave you the name Supriya, and does it have any meaning?
Yeah. So it was my dad who gave me the name Supriya. And it sounds a bit silly because, like, my mom didn't like it that much. But my dad, when he was asked while he was documenting my birth, they just asked, like, "Oh, what do you want to name your daughter as?" And then he
Mm.
was like, she's very bubbly. I just love her. And everyone who just comes to see her just like falls in love with her. So I'll just name her Supriya. And it's like derived. It's a name that came from Hindi. So it means, Priya means person who you love. And Su is like an adjective. So Supriya becomes a person who is loved by all. And my parents
Oh,
believe,
wow.
yeah. So my parents believe, like, your name projects certain kind of energy and aura into you and makes the person who you want to be. So they chose that name very carefully. I do not know how far they have been successful, but yeah, I love my name now. Yeah.
It's similar for me. I mean, I'm from Africa,
Mhm.
and in
Mhm.
Africa, when we even when a baby's born, 7 days after the baby's born, we give them a name ceremony. So it's quite
Mhm.
similar in terms of the name is such a significant thing.
Yeah.
If if you don't have a name, it's kind of like it's not heard of. So it's really
Yeah.
important that when you give the name of the child, that it has a
Mhm.
significant meaning behind it. So yeah, I
Mhm.
definitely agree with you on those points that you made.
Yeah.
The other question I wanted to ask about in regards to your background was, what was it like, actually growing up as a child? So you could talk about
Mhm.
obviously, when you were in India, as well
Mhm.
as obviously academia, etc.
Uh, so I was the only one for a while. When I say for a while, it was like for 5 years, and I was autistic. I didn't talk much. I didn't share my feelings much. So as a suggestion, society uh, suggested my parents that they should have another kid so that I'll connect with them. And
Yeah.
I was very independent. I didn't need another kid to play with. I could play by myself. I was a bit bossy. And when my sister was born, I still remember, like, I was very possessive about her. You know, I used to make people
Okay.
wash their hands before touching her. That is that possessive. And I don't know why I always feel responsible for them. However, they are more mature than me in their behavior and their actions. My parents say that I still own my innocence. I haven't grown up much when it comes to being childish in certain ways.
Mm.
and and they like me for that. That's my individual character.
That's great. Do you think that you've actually, like, as you've got older, you're still quite mischievous?
I wouldn't say mischievous, but yeah, I don't conform with the norms of the society that you need to be uber serious all the time. Like,
Mm.
I just can relate to other person on a human level, be a bit shaky, be a bit
Yeah.
hilarious, and I can be serious when it comes to business.
Of course, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I totally agree. I mean, I think that
So
we all
so
have a
they
child, an inner
yeah.
child inside us,
Yeah.
and to actually be able to have that is actually
Hmm.
quite important. So people
Yeah.
really lose their inner child and they get so serious about life and they get so serious about everything. Even if you have £10 in your account, to actually, just believe that everything's going to be all right makes everything okay. But
Yeah.
it's all about mental strength. So
Hmm.
obviously it goes back to obviously mental state and how people feel at that certain time.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I wanted to move on to
Hmm.
obviously more questions around technology and your career in technology. So my first question is, what inspired you to choose, a career in the STEM sector?
So, yeah, it's a very good question because there's not a very direct answer to it. Because, people who inspire me keep changing as well. So, but
Yeah,
I guess
yeah,
initially it was my curiosity around, initially it was my curiosity around things. I wanted to know how things work. I still remember that I asked my dad why moon keeps following us. And then he said, it's not following you. He explained me everything. And I was like, no, I want to go back to moon and just say to him that needs to stop following me. And and that was like a hilarious thing for my dad to listen to. But he said, you need to become an astronaut for that. And since that day, I was barely 2. I wanted to become an astronaut, and till today, I want to become an astronaut. To be honest with you,
wow.
yeah. And that set the pace. And then, obviously, seeing your dad being so involved in cutting edge technology, building stuff. I grew up doing a lot of DIY projects with my dad, so he became like an inspiration. But obviously, I was interested in space. So there was a female figure from India. She broke all the barriers, in 90s, and she became first female astronaut from India, representing herself in NASA and our country, our pride. Uh, I'm talking about Kalpana Chawla. It was sad that we lost her on 1st of February 2006 or 2004. I can't remember very well. But that incident, and she was such an inspiration to look up to. She she got into an area that was totally male dominated, and she actually made us believe that we could do it. And since then, every small struggle didn't look like a struggle. It just was like, if she can do it, I can bloody do it.
That's right. I like to hear
Yeah.
that. So what has
However, I pivoted.
yeah, I mean, what has your, like, in terms of, like, what's your experience been like from back home to the UK, like, in terms of, your Korean step? Like, has there been more inspirations from back home? Or, have you felt that, since you've come to the UK, you've been more inspired here? I mean, do you think it's a
Mhm.
mixture of both? I mean, where do you think it really grabbed you by the hook?
Okay, so yeah, that's a very interesting question because when I was in India, I was like more academic. If you say business, probably I would run away from you, never see you again. It would be like once in a lifetime, appearance. And
Yeah.
you just talk about business, I would run away. But London has been a kind of, turning point in my life because I came here as an academic, as a researcher at UCL. But
Mm-hmm.
then I started working part time in startups, and also I did a lot of hackathon, and that gave me the taste of building things again, which was my passion. My passion wasn't writing tons and tons of research papers. My passion was all around building things that can create impact.
Yeah.
And that was really addictive, and that made me pivot. So I guess UK plays a role in redefining, understanding what I wanted out of my life, not what society expects out of me.
Mm-hmm.
I grew a lot in UK. However, the foundation of it was laid in India.
Fantastic.
So
So
it was
now
like
that
kind of
you
a mixture.
so now that you started growing popularity in the UK,
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
obviously people back home. I mean, how was the response back home?
Uh, so back home, I got like mixed response from people.
Okay.
Most of it was encouraging, but some people even said that, "Oh my God, you're such a good example of brain drain." And I was like, yeah, you can say so, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think on a level more than my country. I'm a
Mhm.
Hindu, but I respect all other religions. But I truly believe one thing that Hinduism teaches is a very small sentence that we say, and it says Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which means
Oh,
this
sounds
whole
amazing.
world. It's in Sanskrit. The whole world. It just means that the whole world is a family, and it doesn't matter which family member I'm helping,
I
which
love
family
that.
member I'm living with. You know, ultimately it's our family. If you got that, you wouldn't think about brain drain. Obviously, you know, I was born in India. I should be helping our Indians as well. But it doesn't matter if I'm doing good.
If you're
That's
doing
all
good, whatever
matter.
it is. Yeah,
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 that's all
totally agree.
matters.
Definitely. I'll go on to my next
Mhm,
question in a second.
mhm.
So it actually leads on to our next question, which is great. So, have you received any racism or prejudice during your career? And if so, how did you deal with this racism? So I just want to touch on
Mhm,
obviously happened in recent times, obviously with
mhm. So I
um,
didn't, yeah. So I didn't face like severe racism. It was very subtle and very directed at me, not for my color. I would call it like an unconscious bias that people have. So, say for example, uh, people have like this thing that Indians are hardworking. So sometimes my colleagues feel that it's okay to dump their work over me because I'm hardworking. So certain times, like, you know, we had discussion whether um, uh, they are just complimenting me or they want me to work and get paid for not doing their work.
yeah.
So I found a way to counter that. And the way I do it is very simple and easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just confronting small things in like then and there, rather than, you know, exaggerating things. If you just confront them then and there, it's like, you know, if they're talking to you very friendly, you can just explain things friendly to them. And if they are joking, you just joke around
Of course. Yeah.
and and
Yeah.
and keep it cool.
Yeah.
You don't need to, you know, become hyper. However, the first intent is to become hyper, you know, when you're working in such a pressure environment, and there's deadline attached to everything that you work on. So yeah. And
Exactly.
it wasn't only kind of prejudice that I faced. Being a female, you get a lot of discrimination as well. And it comes from people who are highly educated. So one of my professors, because I'm a very curious person, I would keep questioning until I understand things, right? So he
Mhm.
got
So,
annoyed that I asked a lot of questions in the classroom. So he went like, "Oh, what you're gonna do with all these questions? You're gonna end up getting married and you know, pleasing your husband, taking care of your kids. You ask questions as if you're gonna change the world." And I was like, actually, I was like, I couldn't say anything back because I was like, if a professor thinks like that, I don't know how others in my country would behave. And
yeah.
he shows as if he's a modern person, you know. So if males think that way, how on earth they will, you know, treat us as equals. However, having said that, I have found several males who have helped me, you know, where I am, to be uh, to be in business, to be in technology, to be in you know, whatever sphere of my life. There have been a lot of male who have contributed constructively. So I would say there are few people here and there, you know.
Fantastic. So, in light of what happened recently with George
Mhm.
Floyd, do you believe that it is a systemic issue, or do you think that it's an individual issue in terms of racism and prejudice? Do you think that is something that is embedded from the childhood? So it's not something that I don't know, like they don't call the whole Barclays department and say, "Look, guys, we need to be
Mhm.
racist today." Do you think it's more of an individual thing, or do you think it's actually an organizational, cultural thing?
I think it's more of a systemic thing. So I would say with this incident, we need to learn that there are flaws in our system. There are flaws in the way we run our countries, we run our society, right? There is inequality, there is corruption, there are so many things that are wrong. There are
Mm,
environmental issues, there is racism, there is discrimination of so many kinds that I can't even, I can do another talk on that. There are so many kinds if I just have to name them, right?
mm,
So do we need another George Floyd to die to
exactly.
to recognize
Exactly.
that there is a problem, or can we just can we just take that as an example and understand that there's so many issues, and with this pandemic we have all the time, we have all the money and all the energy to change, to redefine the way we work in the society, change our culture if it needs to be, change our society if it needs to be, change the way the power dynamic works, change the way our politics works. And it's so disgusting that people don't understand that, by vandalizing properties, by drifting
Exactly.
towards anarchy, you don't make
So good.
yourself matter. You're insulting the black lives that way.
Exactly. I mean,
And I
it's not
hate to
actually it's
say,
making more of a problem. It's not actually
yeah,
creating a solution, and that's why I hate to talk about the problem. The problem, slavery, modern slavery. I believe that we need to talk about the solution. What is the solution going forward?
definitely.
How do we counteract against what is happening around the world? This is not something that's just happened yesterday. We talk
Mhm,
about, you talked about sexism. You talked
mhm,
about, obviously, there's people obviously have different sexualities as well.
mhm.
So on that sentiment, we need a framework that makes
Definitely.
everybody feel inclusive, whether they're women, male, if they're black,
Mhm,
white, whatever it may be, to make
mhm.
sure that people all feel like they're equal, no
Yeah.
matter what they do, is based on their participation and not on their
Mhm.
profile. So I
Yeah.
think it's definitely important that, especially when it comes to STEM, which we know is highly dominated by men,
Mhm.
that women are more encouraged. Also, men supporting females. I do think that there is a lot of males that support females in STEM roles,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
more than females sometimes.
Mhm. Yeah,
So I
definitely.
think it's also to empower women to be
Mhm.
able to lead other men,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, it
Sorry,
does
I've
make
got
sense.
some construction work going on. So I just want to ask you. So our next question is: do you believe things have got better or worse in both genders in the workplace? Would you like me
So
to repeat that?
I yeah, no, it's fine. I've heard it. So I think things are definitely going in the right direction, but uh, there are still subtle ways in which we feel that we haven't got that kind of equality. So, say for example, depending on where you are, in which part of the world you are, women still face discrimination. Even in UK, they face discrimination. I'm talking about single parents. When there is a single mom in this pandemic, there is no way, if she has her own business, to get some sort of support. She has to take care of the child. She has to run her business. She has to do everything without support. So I think we need to we need to support all type of women.
Yes.
And when it comes to STEM, I guess people are getting aware that having that kind of diverse opinion about things, say, for example, if a company is building a product that is going to be used by everyone, but maybe mostly by women, you need a woman to be representing her opinion in that group when you're developing the product.
That it got better or worse, in the last, couple of years? Do you believe it's got better or worse in terms of, gender equality?
I think it's getting better.
Is there any highlights that you can highlight that you feel that, there's been some certain policies or frameworks or certain things done within the workplace?
So I mean, there have been a lot of highlights. There have been a lot of female representations in the C-suite level, and then there are companies like STEMETs. There are groups where girls can code, and then She++. There are so many societies where male and female, they're both encouraging young girls to pursue science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and entrepreneurship, and get involved into things that were usually male dominated. So I think this is getting a lot better when all female crew is going in space, when all female crew is going all around the world. That shows female can do everything that man can do.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree 100%. Moving on to our next question. What have been your highlights while working in technology? So what's your highlights, over the years?
Yeah. So I would start from the beginning. So one of my highlights was working in a very niche technology, and that is simulation of laser matter interaction, and that too a femtosecond laser. And that was very niche, that we had only 2 femtosecond lasers in India, and one of them was broken. And I was simulating that kind of physics. And my paper got selected, and I was presenting in one of the conferences, and that's how I came to UCL. So that's definitely my number 1 highlight. And then my number 2 highlight was working with Senseo Air, building their patent product. And it became world's first real-time air analyzer. So it can recognize pollutants as well as allergens in real time. So that showed me what my real potential is and how I can create impact. And third highlight would be, I guess, my hackathons, love for hackathons. So I won 62 hackathons out of 69 hackathons that I have participated in. That means I had ability to create wonderful 62, at least I can say 62 wonderful ideas that could have been potentially businesses. But I choose to work with FoodKim, which was a food allergen tracker. And for that, I got selected in Y Combinator Summer School, and then in Panacea Stars in Oxford, which is a life science accelerator. And then Catalyst is in Southampton. So these 3 business accelerators for the technologies that I built. And I also got highlighted, got featured, interviewed in it's called London Tech Week, for building an algorithm that can predict the time required for you to come out of the airport and get the taxi. So it was a predictive algorithm that I built. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So
you have a very extensive and impressive highlights experience there. So that's really amazing. So well done, you. I go on to our next question. How do you think we can support more women in STEM positions? How do you think we could, support them?
I think in my head, I have step-by-step process, because I'm very process-driven person, I would say, apart from being analytical. So in my opinion, I guess awareness is the first step. So making aware that females can do different things. and then giving them a choice that yes, you can take mathematics, yes, you can code. And in fact, first coders were females and black females, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah.
That's news to my ears. So I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
So that would
Something they don't
sound
tell
like
us
a
in
treat
school.
to you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, of course, 100%.
And once they're aware, they require that kind of spark, that kind of, launch pad. So they require encouragement, constant encouragement,
Yeah,
because it's hard to study, to be in STEM. So they require that kind of constant motivation, that constant guidance. They need that. And then they need engagement in terms of, having mentors, having females who have done that, having, a constant touch bases with them. That would
yeah,
really help. And once
100%.
they are prepared, they need to be empowered by getting an opportunity to do something, what they have
Yeah,
learned, able to execute. And once they're executing, they need to come and pay back to other females in the society. And I guess that's a fair step-by-step process where,
yeah,
we can have more female representation in STEM. It's so funny that we are in UK. It's considered as a developed country, one of most modern thinking, forward kind of society. But we still have in STEM we have 12 females per 100 males. That's our
wow.
representation in scientific society.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on your actual individual projects. So
Mhm.
obviously, going back to that process, how do we support more women in STEM? So I know that you're obviously
Mhm.
involved in STEMx. Would you give us a bit
Yeah.
more information about STEMx and how,
Mhm.
potentially people can inquire or get involved?
Yeah. So I was involved in Summit as a mentor, and what it does is basically it engages with high school girls. And Dr. Anna More has done, who is in fact a black female. I I hate to highlight this fact, but since people think that you know we don't matter, actually we do. She has done an amazing work by founding out this company called STEMETS, or this organization called STEMETS. And she, along with other female mentors and male mentors, organizes events. And they have a website where you can register to get their newsletters. And they do a lot of things. They do career advising, so you can have like a personal mentor. And they have a lot of volunteers, so once you have done something, you can become volunteer as well. So one of the things I used to do was prepare those girls for interviews.
Hmm.
So I used to take their mock interviews, and then
Oh, wow.
obviously sharing your own story. It inspires them to
Yeah,
be something in STEM, be one of their
100%.
own kind rather than chasing to be someone else. So I mean,
100%.
like they do hackathons. I have seen
So
3-year-old
where's the best
females
place to like
coding.
contact? Do you go on the website? How do
Yeah,
people
you
get
go
involved?
on their website, and you can become a volunteer. You can become, a person who needs like mentorship. So they have like range of opportunities over there. And that's not the only thing. There are so many female support groups. There's the Bigger Pie, and then where we met, and then
Hmm.
there's Girls Can Code, there's C++, and then there's Like-Minded Females, run by one of my friends, Sonia Barla. And I guess there are just so many opportunities. All you need to is like go on Google, and with the same passion, research about things on Facebook and Instagram. Just share the same passion on Google.
For science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. That's right, girls.
Yeah,
We definitely want to see much more women in STEM.
yeah,
We want to obviously encourage and inspire more ladies to come into the STEM role and actually feel that they matter.
Yeah.
So this is why we obviously have this webinar today, just to make sure that we are sending out the clear message that women are here and we're here to stay.
We're gonna
So
hear.
I just wanted to, yeah, I just wanted to see if our attendees wanted to ask any questions. Does anybody want to ask any questions? Does anybody want to ask? No? Okay, well, it looks like we don't have any questions today, so we finished early. That's great. Is there any closing remarks that you would like to obviously say before we finish up?
I think one closing remark would be is like, don't for males and females, don't be how would I say? It's interesting. Don't stigmatize a woman for being a woman and frame them into four walls, confine them into their four walls. They are much more than your servants. They are much more than being maids. They are much more than just being kids. Kids' mom. They're much more than that. They are doctors. They are astronauts. They are divers. They are, I don't know, explorers. They can be whatever they want to. And when they give birth to a child, they can bear that much pain. They have the resilience, they have the tenacity to change the world. Because yes, they give birth to you, they change the world. So respect them. And similarly to girls, I guess they should respect their counterparts. And together we can.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Supriya. That is amazing, that last sentiment that you said. And I think I touch on that as well. I think, women are very multi-talented. We are able to multitask. So to actually eliminate us from the whole process of development and implementation would actually be less beneficial to you. So actually having more women involved, not excluding men, of course, but obviously having more women involved could actually help implementation of your project. World, we're here to support you. Like Supriya stated, some of the other companies out there that are also supporting young females. So please come on and join us in our journey. Thank you so much, Supriya. It's been such a great afternoon. You take care and have a great afternoon. And I look forward to talking to you again. Take care now.
Thanks, Suzanne.
Cheers.
Have a nice day. Cheers. Bye-bye.